All right, welcome back. We are going to answer a question that I get probably 3 times a week. I'll get somebody send me a picture on Messenger, or I'll get it on Facebook or through an email or something, and people will have a jig and they'll ask me, "What do you think?" If you like it, it don't matter what I think. If you're trying to tie what I tie and use the style that I'm tying, then I can show you what you're doing wrong, and we're going to do that right here. I've got a pink 16th ounce, actually this is the 8th ounce. I got a pink 8th ounce jig head in the vise, and I've already cut the collar off of it. I'll show you how I do that right now.
It's a big lake, and I'm in East Lady Evelyn Lake Conservation Reserve. It's the first of 4 parks or reserves that I'll be going through. Sandhill cranes are croaking like crazy over there, and the loons were howling all night like a pack of rabid wolves. It's beautiful. Unfortunately, there's also the noise of motorboats on this lake, which is okay. Those people have every right to be here, but it's not what I want to hear on a backcountry trip. But I've only put 1 portage behind me, so I haven't earned that solitude and quiet yet. This trip has about 30 portages in total, depending on how I do it. And once I put some more of those behind me, then I expect to only hear the cranes and the loons. There are 2 big fishing lodges on Lady Evelyn, and it's a big enough lake to...
Okay, so after we've got the collar cut off of it, we got it in the vise, we're going to start doing it. This is what a lot of people will do. They'll get a fly tying kit in the mail, they'll run to Walmart, they'll get a bunch of jig heads, and they're ready to tie. Walmart jig heads have got a different look. You don't have a lot of options when you go to Walmart to buy a jig head. You don't get like number 4s, number 6, number 2s. It's what's in the package, and most of the time, if they're 1/8 ounce or above, it's usually like a number. I want to say a number 2. It's a little bit. It's a long shanked hook, and that is the first thing I see that automatically is going to kind of not make it take the style of the jigs I tie. But we're going to tie one from Walmart, and we're going to tie one that I've painted up from Jason Brummel. It's the exact same jig, it's just this is in a freestyle jig head. Mine has got a sickle hook on it. The one in the vise has just got a regular round ball jig head. So let's get started. And if you're starting and you're new to tying, get you Sally Hansen's. It's going to help build up a base to give that thread something to stick to. It's going to stop that body from wanting to roll and twist as you're tying. So we're going to do a Chanel body all the way down. So we're just going to tap that shank of that hook with the Sally Hansen hard as nails. I wonder how many fly tires on YouTube or how many gallons of Sally Hansen's has been sold just for making people buying it to make crappie jigs. Because I promise you, I go through more of this stuff than I've ever seen my wife go through it. Probably once a month, especially when I was tying and selling a lot of them. Once a month, I would buy 2 bottles. Most of the time, I'd go through 2 bottles. So anyway, off subject. We're now going to wrap the base of this shank of this hook, Danville's 210 wax thread. In my loon vise. We're going to be using a different vise too, because I've already got it loaded up with silver. This is one I got off Amazon. Not sure the name of it. It's a pretty good vise, or pretty good bobbin. I came in a pack of 2 of them. And before you go and buy 10 of them to stock your fly tying arsenal up with, my last one broke. And it broke right here in one of these bins. So be careful. It comes in a pack of 2. I think it was like 15 bucks. I like that. I like that grippy spot on it. It's got like a little groove right there about halfway up the bobbin that's got enough grip there for your fingers to hold on to, and palm of your hand makes the thread fit up in the palm of your hand. You can put a lot of tension on a jig with these, but like I said, this is the last one I got. It came in a pack of 2, one already broke. But it's a good bobbin. I like that bobbin right off the bat. I liked it. So we got our Sally Hansen's on the shank of the hook. We're going to start wrapping. We're going to go from the head all the way to the point. And I don't tie a lot of jigs that are this long. It seems like it is a mile back to get there. All right, so right there. we got the shank of the hook tied, and we're gonna do what I see a lot of people do wrong when they're tying jigs. All right, we're gonna get some hackle. One, I got the chartreuse laying up on the table, so we are gonna do chartreuse. We got 3 feathers cut out. So, first thing I see wrong is I don't want to tie like this. This is against everything I stand for when I tie a jig. It don't look right, but I'm gonna show you what I see people doing wrong. Cutting the feathers way too long. Cutting that much out. As wasteful as it is, all you're really going to use on that jig on this size hook is about that much. From the head to the point of the hook, plus that one more time, is all you need. So where did I have it marked at? We're going to cut it way back here. I'm just going to let it hit the floor. All right, so we got it cut where it's going to be a little bit too long. Actually, I didn't make it long enough, but for reasons for showing, it's going to be perfect. So we're going to lay it all up there. We're going to do this one wrap all the way to the point of the hook. Then we're going to come back. So when you're new to tying and you just started tying, that's going to look awesome. That looks good. You're going to get a lot of those really, really polite people out there, myself including, as I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see somebody's jig. And for what I tie, the first thing I think of is, man, they made that feather way too long. All right, so we're going to go with the next one. We're going to put another one right there. We're going to make it just a little bit longer. When you put your feathers on, go all the way to the head. Butt that feather up against the head. But I think a lot of people are bringing that feather down here and they're just wrapping it. So there we go. And honestly, there's, you know, if the crappie are feeding hard, they're gonna just engulf that jig. If you get into those days where the crappie are just like picky, you know, you're feeling them barely nipping on the tail, that's all they're doing. They're nipping on the end of that tail. All right, so we're gonna go with our Chanel. And somebody else on YouTube tied jigs a long time ago, and I remember watching that guy do that video when he started all of his Chanel back here on the back. And he got his bobbin up here to where he just looped it in right there by the shank of the hook and just got a tie spot on it, and then came down here and stopped. And then what he did was he went a wrap, a wrap, a wrap, a wrap, and he stopped. And he went around it. And this is what I see a lot of people copying that video, and I know that's what they're doing. And then they cut it right there just like that, and then they're gonna call it done. Because, I mean, you know, you're saving time, you're saving material, so why make 2 wraps on it? So I'm gonna take this one and show it to the camera and show you what we got. We got this really thin-bodied jig with the tail that's extremely too long for what I like to do. So we are going to get another one. Hopefully I got another one because I want to tie another one exactly like that. So let's dig in the box. We're going to dig in the box and see if I've got another one of those jig heads, and voila, I do. Right there, we got another one. All right, so let's take our side cutters and let's cut that off. Again, we're going to do another one. We're going to take a pair of side cutters and we're going right behind the head of this jig. It's a Walmart jig head. It's just exactly like what we just got done tying with. It's an 1/8 ounce round ball jig head with a white eye and a black pupil. They sell these at Walmart by the thousands a month, I guarantee it. Hundreds of them. Now, I'm not saying you can't take a Walmart jig head and tie it and make it look good, because we're going to try. And maybe there's just something about this jig head. Just, to me, just makes a jig not look right. I noticed it seemed like my jigs got to looking a lot better when I started buying my jig heads from somebody that could make them the way I wanted them made. So, okay, we got another one right back in the vise. I got pieces of paint all over me, and we're going to put the Sally Hansen's on it. Going to dab it, just, I mean, barely. It don't take much. Don't take much at all. What was that they used to tell you in school, you know, with your school glue, a little dab will do you. there it is. We're going to call this one Skinny Mini. We're going to take our bobbin, same thread, 210 denier from Danville. We're going to wrap it all the way down to the point of the hook. We're going to come all the way back up, and like I said, we're going to build this body up. We're going to put a little more thread. I mean, this is wrap number 1, 2, 3. We're going back up to the head again. Let's stop right there. All right, so we've already got a little bit more of a base built up on this jig than we did the first one. We're going to go back and we're going to get our hackle feather. I'm pretty sure this hackle feather I got here did come from Moose Tackle, so if you're curious what it looks like, there it is. Hit him up, tell him I sent you. You heard about him from Eric Massey Jig Company on Spotify and on YouTube and on Facebook. So if we go from the head to the point of the hook, I should have got a tape measure and actually measured it. We're gonna go there. We're gonna do that one more time. And then right there where my fingers are at is where we're gonna cut it. We're gonna lay it up on there just to double check and make sure that's what we got. So we got 2 hackle feathers. I think we got it first shot. I don't think I'm gonna have to trim it anymore. And this is tying using a Walmart jig head. Actually, we are going to take just a tad bit more off the end of that. I'm going to lay it right there on the back of that hook, and we're going to wrap it in. We'll come all the way back up with it, keeping our wraps tight on the way back up. I think we're going to add 2 more. We're going to add 1 on each side of it because we've got the room to do it. The shank of the hook is long enough that's going to let us put more material in this. You just got to be careful that you're not building way up over top that head and you're not going to give that jig a good spot to bite into. So we're going to separate these 2 that I just cut. Actually, there's 3 of them there. Boom, boom, boom. Bonus feather. We're going to pull that one together. We're going to tie it right in. This one we've got on the side of the jig. And we're going to take our 4th one and we're going to put it on the other side. And we're going to tie it all the way in. Now we're going to come all the way back up. Now you see with adding the extra feathers in this, but the extra wraps of thread, we've built our body up. We got the body a little bit thicker. And that's kind of what we're going for. Like I said, this is what I see a lot on Facebook. All right, we're going to leave our bobbin right up here at the head. And we're going to lay that chenille right there against the head of the jig. And we're going to tie it up all the way to the point of the hook. The whole length of it. So yes, this is going to double your material, what you would have been using. We're going to pull our bobbin down because I don't like to use the bobbin holder. I don't know why. I know the vise comes with it. I see a lot of people use it. I can't get used to that being over here and then moving it out of the way. Seems like I'm doing an extra step with my hands that I didn't really need to do. So, all right. So we're going to pull our chenille out tight and we're going to start wrapping. We're going to get here in the middle and we're just going to let it build up on top itself, keeping it right there in that spot. And we're going to wrap it and wrap it and wrap it right up, right to the head of the jig. We're going to swap it over. We're going to see if we can get one more wrap of that chenille in there. And we did. And we're going to wrap it again. We're going to go back over our chenille. Voila. Boom. Did you hear that tension I had in that chenille? Do one more whip finish. And boom, there it is. The Walmart jig head. It's a bigger profile bait without a doubt. Getting the jig heads from Walmart, whether you're tying with 16th ounce, 8th ounce, even all the way up to 1/4 ounce, it's going to be a bigger profile jig. If if you can't find somebody local and you're stuck, that is your only option. You can't afford to, you know, buy a bulk order from someone else. You can't, you know, can't get it shipped to you or whatever. You can use Walmart jig heads. Use them. I started out doing the exact same thing until I didn't like the way they were coming out. It just, something about them I didn't like. Me being picky, me being anal, me being who I am. It's got to be flawless. It's got to be perfect. I found somebody and bought them local and ended up doing it. But this is the jig. If you're on Spotify right now watching, you're going to have a hard time seeing this unless you go to my YouTube channel and watch it. But the Spotify folks got a lot more than the people on YouTube did. I gave a lot more in depth of what I see it goes wrong with tying jigs. This is the one I see it from people on Facebook all the time. Hey, tell me what you think about my jig. And that's the one I just got done tying. That's the only difference. That's all I see people doing wrong is you're not filling the body up enough. Those are the exact same jig heads, the exact same material, the exact same thread. I've shortened the feathers down. I did an extra wrap with the chenille. I did more wraps with the thread because I went back and added extra feathers to it. And doing this, you know, like I said, if you're doing them for yourself, you're doing fishing for a pond, that'll work. There's nothing wrong with that. That will catch crappie. But if you're trying to make it look like what I do, that is what it takes to get it to that. Doing them this way is cheaper than doing them this way. You're using twice as much chenille. You're using twice as many feathers. Well, not really. There's 3 in this one. There's 4 in that one. But you can just see there's a profile difference in those 2 jigs. This one probably going to sink a little bit slower than this one. This one's going to absorb the water a whole lot faster. It's going to fall down to the bottom quicker. This one's got a little bit more in there to absorb. It's probably going to float, just sink just a little bit slower. Not a whole lot. Not like you can count the, you know, 100 before it hits the bottom at, you know, 20 foot. They're going to, it's just going to have a little bit slower fall rate until it absorbs all that water and gets all soaked in, and then they're probably both going to fall about the same speed. It's just 2 different jigs, one with the shorter tail, one with the longer tail. You know, and it's up to you. Do you want to go the extra cost and double your material, double your feathers? Or are you okay with the skinny mini? You know, both of them will catch fish. And if you're happy with this one, by all means tie it. If you're happy with this one, by all means tie it. But like I said, there is a plus side, there's the downside. Double the material, costs more to tie. A little bit cheaper to tie. You're not going to go through as much material. And like I said, if you're tying them for yourself, you can put them in your box. It don't really matter. But that is the most common question I get a lot, and I see a lot of people ask me, hey, what do you think about this? To be polite, I'm going to say, I like this one better. I like a jig that's got a little more profile, a little more body to it, a little more, call it meat on the bones, you know. Nothing wrong with that. I'd take that out and catch crappie with it. I promise you I would. It's going to work anywhere you go unless they're short striking. If they're short striking, you're going to have a problem with all that tail right there. But if they're not, if it's early spring, spawn's getting ready to come on, those fish are trying to get fat, or it's winter time in those pre-winter months, you know, that late October, November, where they're trying to put on a bunch of weight to get ready to make it through the winter time, they're going to gobble it up. You ain't going to have a problem with them short striking anyway. You know, so it doesn't really matter.